sanitizer section.
Do you have plans that you could reduce the NOx emissions every year? I mean, I don't know what the state of New York would allow, but coming out of the chemical industry, we had goals every year. We were going to reduce that, and I just wondered what technologies you would be using, and if to meet the current standards and future standards, that kind of thing. Because you said, what, about 40 tons?
Yeah, that's a fair question. Where we're at right now is that we can reduce, and these are estimates naturally, but we're over 98% of all the other criteria pollutants, first of all. So there isn't much to be gained in getting that last half to 1%. On the NOx, anytime obviously that you use air and combustion, you're introducing nitrogen.
Oh, yeah.
And we have another module on here that we could add to reduce it by about 70% of all NOx emissions. So we could do that. Have we phased it in each stage? No, but we have certainly agencies. When I was at Puget Sound doing this presentation for the Clean Air Agency up there, that was one of their questions. What we did there is we not only we put in the other module, and we estimate that we're about 80% reduction of NOx, which gets it down low enough that they could be in a non-attainment area under 25 tons per year.
Okay.
And so all that's certainly doable. On the syngas flare, this is just a demonstration of the power of this gas. That stack is 10 feet in diameter, and that flame is about 30 feet tall. That's what the inside of the boiler looks like when we fire this gas in there. It's pretty amazing. I'm going to skip all the way back to the emission abatement via wet ESP. That's towards the back. Eisman is a world-class company. They are worldwide. They're very big in Europe. As you know, Europe has had much stricter regulations on air emissions for a decade or so than we have. Eisman has installed this exact type of unit over there many, many times. Hundreds and hundreds of times, actually, and it's very effective. It's a best-in-class technology because they added a few extra modules, as I spoke about. There's not one set of collection plates, and then there's two sets of collection plates. It's got a full-blown water spray on the front end to grab anything that's water-soluble out of the flue gas. And on the back side, it has a mist eliminator, so that there's no condensation coming out of the stack. The facility will virtually look as though it's not running, and that's one of their guarantees is that you're not going to have a visible plume, whether it's steam, condensation, or smoke. And as people are error-prone to say, there won't be any smoke at all. There won't be any condensation coming out that stack. It's a multi-pollutant collection unit for all the sulfur oxides, all the chlorides, all the particulate, and all the PM 2.5 condensable that they've been cracking down on for the last few years. All that's removed at a 98% removal rate, guaranteed. And then I've got a picture of the unit, and you can see in the different stages in step one. Step one is the water deluge part, or the entrance. Step two is the deluge. 3 is the first set of collection plates. And then it has where we use gravity for some of the collection. We have another deluge in there, once again, all using the boiler water. And then we have an updraft section with final collection plates, plus the mist eliminators that we spoke about. And when we're done, we have a very, very clean flue gas stream. I think I've basically gone over the key points. What questions can we answer for you guys?
How much electricity you put out of this one?
About 15 megawatt in a single unit. That's about 600 tons.
And how would you plan on transporting to we got the rockets are holding a substation out in the city right down the block. How do you transport to get from the site over to the grid?
I haven't actually looked at the site, but
We have to look at the site, see where the hookup is, the grid,
I'm just concerned about it. I'm the electrical background, so.
Okay.
I'm sure there's electric lines going into the area.
I feel it, yeah, I'm planning to transport out yet, okay.
Okay.
I guess one of the questions I have is the failures. Or if you've got a plant running hither and yon, and when it fails, whatever kind of catastrophic failure you might have, what are the potentials of a failure? For example, a fire, or one of your part of module that doesn't work, and what do you do in the meantime? Are there some serious situations you can find yourself in that could have negative impact on society?
That's certainly a fair question. I think from a reliability standpoint, every subsystem on this is expected to be in a 30-year life range. 15 years is some of the components would need to be replaced in the wet ESP. Catastrophic failures, such as fire, can be mitigated with proper sprinkler systems.
Is that part of the design?
That certainly is part of the design. Okay. It's required by fire code also. But we would want that because,
sure,
obviously, for obvious reasons. As far as the system itself goes, this gas fire has been running 15 months now, without a single minute of downtime due to the gas fire. It's just a very, very simple auger and a refractive shell that's moved by a 5-horsepower motor and a gearbox. We would have that motor, we would have that gearbox as spare parts, as we would some of the other key components, the fans. Obviously, my job as the designer of the overall system is to mitigate any long-term risk.
So you're talking about 300 tons of waste a day.
15 megawatts is about 600 tons. And to be clear, we make these in a variety of sizes. We make them in a 150 ton, a 300 ton, and a 450 to 500 ton. Mm-hmm. And it takes about 600 tons to get the 500 tons, if you will. There's going to be some processing, sorting, just very rough numbers for talking purposes.
Now that we've approached that area, where are you going to get the waste from, number one? What it's going to do to the infrastructure of this town. We have 2 landfills. We're the landfill capital of the world. And then we have 2 closed landfills, so you've got a situation with ash. So how much garbage are we going to be bringing into this municipality in order to run this? It sounds like you'll be taking a lot of waste from a lot of municipalities, a lot of areas, and bringing them here.
You generate, what, about 180, 200 tons in this area a day? That's what I was told.
I have no idea.
Well,
we're not in the garbage business.
Well, that's what I was understanding, and we would import the other.
I don't think the transfer station handles that type of tonnage. So if it's coming into this area, I'm not sure where it's going because we have 2 closed landfills. The only municipal waste that's coming in is going to our transfer station, as far as I know, and that is absolutely nowhere near that type of volume. So my concern is our own infrastructure and roads and stuff handling the type of volume you're talking about might be catastrophic because we're not set up for that. I'm just looking at some of the practical areas, and then you have the waste situation when you're talking about we have a landfill, and that's a good thing, but these landfills are closed. So, and I'm not sure if you're able to spread this type of ash over the top of the landfills, but there are
well, I can address the truck traffic. You're talking about 23 trucks a day.
600 tons?
Yes. We put 23, 24.
It's a couple of properties that we're looking on. It's right off of 17, right off 17. We haven't decided this property yet, but right off, not going near the town.
You're talking about Hartley Road?
Yes.
That is the town.
That is the town, and that's where the transfer station is. That's where all the trucks are going now. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of volume that would be affecting.
And just so you know, that's how we make a benefit for your town, is that